We used to read a story to my kids, and it said Reggie had big plans. Reggie had big, big plans. I graduated from university loving teenagers, thinking the only thing I ever wanted to do in my life was teach home ec. My mother and father bought me a little sewing machine when I was like 7 years old, and I used to make doll clothes and then progressed into making my own clothes. I never assumed I would go into elementary school. The mind of man plans his ways, and if you're willing, the Lord absolutely directs your steps. And God equips you when He takes you places. I started my career in high school. I loved high school kids, loved teenagers. Then went on to have 2 children of my own, and they really trained me how to be an elementary school teacher. An opportunity arose, and I went to school with my youngest when he was in grade 2. And from there, my career completely changed. John Knox needed a vice principal, and nobody was available to do it. I said, sure, I can do it for a year. And that year has turned into quite a few years later. I think all along I felt I was an unlikely candidate. And I think I was willing to be willing to listen to God. And probably in hindsight, that made me a likely candidate. We were going to build our elementary school. I thought, whoa, we can't build this school in stages. If it was my kid, he'd be crawling over the fence and wanting to look at the digger. It didn't seem like there was any alternative, and I remember just sitting at my desk one day praying and saying, what do we do? And it was almost like an audible voice said, phone Coquitlam. And I phoned Coquitlam, and this was the 3rd phone call I had made to Coquitlam. And a woman answered the phone and said, oh, yeah, let me put you through to our building department. A fellow said, we're just emptying our Millside location. Would you like to maybe rent that? And I said, well, where is Millside? And he said, well, it's the closest school we have to the Burnaby-New West border. I said, wow, that would be great. And I think God has been faithful to John Knox and to me, similar to that, my whole life. The community has grown me up. It's allowed me for a much deeper faith. It's allowed me to not sweat the small stuff and just realize there's lots of bigger picture things in life. My husband got endocarditis, and the doctors didn't think he would live. All the little kids at school were just praying and praying that Mr. Ferguson would be okay. I remember being in the hospital with my husband a day or 2 before he had surgery, and he said, I feel like I'm walking through the valley of shadow of death. I just feel like everything's closing in on me. And looking at him, I said, you actually can't die. I said, every child in my school is praying for you, and if you die, it will crush their faith. And he said that really disturbed him. He thought, I can't die. I can't die. Sometimes in your life, prayer is the only thing you have, right? Because you don't have answers. You don't have opportunities for ways out of things or solving problems. Prayer is ultimately sometimes the only tangible thing that you have to move forward. He had a blood clot hanging where his aorta valve had been, and the doctor was quite amazed that he'd lived, but I'm sure it was all the prayers of those faithful kids just saying, Mr. Ferguson can't die, Lord. Help him not to die. What an amazing gift.